Yo, what up guys, welcome to the first of the 4 videos on the Mirror EP. And in this 4 video series I'm gonna walk you through every track that's on the EP. I'm gonna talk about how it came to be, some tricks I've used, and maybe some cool production tips on how to make your tracks sound even better. If you have any feedback on how I'm doing this, or even feedback on my music, you can go So as you can see, this is the project for Do Anything with my boy MC Synergy with Sam. The reason I asked Sam to do this is because I feel Sam is really intuitive with, conveying a message. Before I get into production things, I wanted to tell you something about the concept of the track. So why and how this track came to be. Then I'm going to show you a little bit of a structuring trick. Then I'm going to show you a little bit about the leads and then about vocal production. So first of all, the concept. The concept of this track is very simple. It is that if you put your mind to things, you can do anything. You know, we are living in a really noisy world the last couple of years, especially the last year has been really tough, and I wanted to give something to people to hold on to. If you listen to this track, I hope that you feel encouraged to stand up for yourself and do the things you want to do or love to do, because that is life. Life is about doing the things you love. For example, a few years ago, I just didn't feel comfortable enough to release music, and now it's one of the things I love the most. The ratio of the rewards versus being scared are just so way off. Like, if you ever want to do something, fucking do it. Okay, without further ado, I'm gonna play a little bit of the track first. I'm gonna play a little bit of the mid intro, and then I'm gonna play a little bit of the main drop. So this kick gets me every time. Now the build up.
Stand for my actions, don't get back to reactions. My head up and give it up, the time for distraction. Fuck the voice in my head, I'm just doing my thing. I believe in myself, I can do anything.
So now we're gonna talk about the structuring trick I was talking about. And before I do that, I wanna pull up the track that the melody was first part of. So this is an old project from like 2017, 2018. Just check it out.
I do not accept it, because an error does not become a mistake until you refuse to correct it. Redirect this.
So as you can hear very clearly, exact same melody made by a younger Scarra. The reason I thought this melody was so cool for this track, because of the feeling it gives me. Like, every time I check this melody back, like last year and the year before that, I was always thinking about doing something with it. The only problem with this is that it was so long ago that I used this melody that I was really struggling with finding the right, structure or how to use it in the music I wanted to make that day. So as you can see, I have a reference track right here. It's World Out There by Disturb. And I really felt like the energy and the energy that the structure is conveying to the audience was really the energy I was looking for. So I just thought, yeah, I'm gonna put it into my project and just copy his structure, maybe play with it a little bit. Like I added a little fake drop right here. Long story short, if you are inspired by somebody's music, don't be afraid to play with it. Just don't blatantly copy it, because that's really disrespectful. Next up are the leads. So as you can see, I have a very nice lead right here. Okay, so a few tricks I wanted to tell you is that first of all, use octaves in your leads. Really, guys. I have an octave right here from the virus. Like on itself, it sounds dope, but it sounds only, it sounds really thin. And to combat that, I use the exact same pattern, but in a lower octave. It may not be the most pretty or dope lead there is, but it's all about getting the right balance. So if I'm playing these two together, it has the screamy, charactery thing of the high octave, and it has the warmth and the body of the lower octave. Also, what I always do is use a center lead, a mono lead, and I think I used Zatox preset for this one. You know, this really helps conveying your leads or music in general through smaller speakers. Like I have a very nice set of Genelecs right here, and maybe if you're a producer watching this at home, you also have a very dope setup. But most of the people that are listening to our music in general are listening on their phones, Bluetooth speakers, or maybe, you know, AirPods or EarPods. And then you don't really have the luxury of a very wide stereo image. So if you are having a very wide mix and you play it on a very mono speaker, it sounds like shit. Also, just a little nod to the old track I was showing you, a Code Black lead. I just had to, like, forgive me guys, forgive me. So as you can see, I have a chord layer right here, and it's playing a simple G minor chord. But I'm playing with the top notes to create a little story within the melody. So you can really create movement that way. It's really subtle, but it could really, you know, lift your track or melody to the next level. Next up I wanted to talk about are a few tricks on the lead. As you can see, I have a stereo enhancer right here. I'm going to mute it first. You know, it really takes the lead from like a nice sounding lead to like the big hardstyle lead you want. And this is also because I use the mono lead is to really combat that stereo-ness. So the next trick I have up my sleeve for leads is, I think, the most universal trick we all know and love. It's the OTT compressor. So I'm gonna mute it first. So as you can hear, the OTT compressor really, you know, gives it a dancey vibe. Dancey vibe, I mean, like it gives a little smile curve to the frequency range. So where the mids could be a little bit too much, they will dip it, and as you can hear, the transients are really coming up because it's such an aggressive compressor. The last trick I got over here is the Pultec EQ. This one is from the Universal Audio, but you can really use any Pultec emulation. Like Waves has a very good one. Before I got the Universal Audio card, I was using that forever, like forever and ever. What's really cool about this EQ is that you can get away with a lot of boosting without it sounding harsh or ugly. So I'm gonna mute it. So as you can hear, it really makes a dull lead sound very alive and very present. And as you can see, I've boosted quite a lot, like 5 decibels in the high end on 16K with a very broad, Q. So it's not really 16K. It's a little bit of everything in that range. Long story short, you can get away with a lot of boosting without it sounding harsh, and it could really take your leads from sounding okay-ish to very, very professional. So now we talked about the structure, we talked about the track itself, we talked about some leads, designing and mixing. The last thing I wanted to show you are the vocals. As I said, I was working with Sam for this track, and I want to show you a technique that I always use to get killer vocals. So, as you can see, I have a center lead right here.
I stand for my actions, don't care about the reactions. My head up, not giving up, no time for distraction. Fuck the voice in my head, I'm just doing my thing. I believe in myself, I can do anything.
I also have a left and right channel.
I stand for my actions, don't care about the reactions. I stand for my actions, don't care about the reactions.
And all these takes are unique. So it's the same with the leads. Like you can copy a lead and then pen it left and right, but it will sound like shit. So always, if you double things, always, get a unique take. I've duplicated the track twice. So I have a left and right 2 and a left and right 3. And that's more because of the flow. You can really punch in the tracks at the right times, but I'm just too lazy for that, so I copied the track. And then if you have some extra space, you can do some shouts like this.
Fuck!
So now the video is really getting demonetized. And especially in here, you can really hear it.
Believe in myself, I can do anything.
It sounds really high pitched and maybe like a Pokemon kawaii kind of voice, but in the whole picture, it really adds a lot. So I'm gonna mute these.
The voice in my head, I'm just doing my thing. I believe in myself, I can do anything.
And now I'm gonna unmute them.
In my thing, I believe in myself, I can do anything.
So it's really on getting that extra information, getting that extra excitement. Just like the leads, you have the octaves going on. It's kind of the same principle for the vocals. So guys, that's it for this video. If you have any questions about other things I did in this track, please drop them down below and I will get back to you as soon as possible. Also, don't forget that I am dropping 3 more videos, so keep an eye out for those and see you in the next one.